Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. Okay, back to the grind for everybody. But the good news is, at least this morning we're waking up to the news that our wallets may feel a little heavier. It's a good thing. Couple of stories. One, of course, that's getting a boatload of press, and one that kind of is slipping under the radar. And personal opinion, I think the one that's slipping under the radar is a lot bigger deal. But let's go to the elephant in the room first. Overnight, for us this morning in Europe, the Chinese and the Americans have announced a trade deal, or at least a temporary one, 90 days. Another one of these 90-day pauses, where both China and the United States are going to reduce our tariffs literally back to where we started, okay? The Chinese are going to charge us 10%. We're going to charge them 30%, okay? Because we have the fentanyl surcharge in there. And of course, that extra 20% will disappear if China stops all the fentanyl trafficking. But good luck ever proving that one. All right. It sounds all great. Oh my God, the tariffs are coming down. We're not going to have to worry about price hikes and all this sort of crap, right? Sure. But there's multiple problems here. All right. First one, it's for 90 days. Yeah, this gives the Chinese economy a life preserver here because it's on the throes of collapse. You know, 16 million people ready to be out of a job and manufacturing workers not getting paid. We've talked about all this, right? Okay. So the Chinese can start producing stuff again, which means in a few weeks, we'll start seeing shipping containers come in. We haven't heard anything yet about, say the automakers saying, well, you know what, we're going to drop those, say Ford, for example, $2,000 price hikes because the parts coming from China aren't going to be so expensive. I hold my breath on stuff like that because when have you ever seen prices come down? Hey, we got the $2,000 raise through there. Let's just keep it in there, right? Price hikes. The bigger issue that, to me, at least, that hasn't been mentioned at all is, and I didn't see it anywhere in any of the press releases that the U.S. or China made, is if China is going to open up their markets to U.S. product. In other words, can we sell stuff over there? Sure. You got to remember this. We buy a lot of stuff that we want from China. China only buys the stuff from the United States that they need. Sure, they buy food, or they buy technology, or they buy, pick some of the other necessities that they buy. But there isn't a whole lot of stuff coming from the United States that the Chinese population buys that is I don't know if you want to call it a luxury purchase, okay? You know, good luck buying a American-made car in China, for example. Yeah. But of course, the majority of the stuff that we get here in the United States is wants, and we've discussed wants versus needs over and over and over again. So Chinese protectionism is still in play until I hear otherwise. And that's where the problem comes in. Now, you'll hear everybody say, look at the stock market this morning, for example. It's going absolutely goofy over this. Dow futures are up almost 900 points. S&P futures are up almost 160. The market loves this because the market hates uncertainty, and we have at least 90 days of deal here. Okay. But the problem comes in with this. If we're not selling stuff to China, household goods type things, the stuff we buy in Walmart, there isn't a Chinese Walmart that's selling American-made product, all right? Just saying, not that there's a whole lot of American-made product in the first place, but even then. So we're only selling them necessities, and we're buying the junk. And we've got back to basically where we were before. And this is where the big problem comes in with everything, is what people don't understand. We talk about our debt all the time. You know, we're 36 million and change in, or 36 trillion, I'm sorry, and change in debt, national debt. And how do we fund that? By issuing treasury bills, bonds, and notes. Okay. China makes about $30 billion a year from the United States in interest, just on the treasury bonds they own. And I want to give you this as an idea, is for the last, with the exception of the last couple of years, for the last decade, treasury bills, bonds, notes have been paying extremely low interest. About 40% of those securities are maturing here in the next 2 years, and they're going to have to be reissued at current interest rates, which are 2 times, 3 times higher than they were, than the ones that are maturing. I believe this is part of the reason why Trump has been screaming at Jerome Powell to reduce rates, is so we can lower our lending cost. But China gets $30 billion right now from us. Inevitably, that will go up just from interest on treasuries. They also make $295 billion a year on tariffs charged to the United States. So 315-ish, or 325 billion a year is what goes into the Chinese economy. The Chinese military spends about $295 billion a year on their military. We are 100% funding the buildup of the Chinese military. That's worrisome. Okay. No, they only spend about a third of what we do on our military. Okay, fine, so be it. I mean, China has 1 aircraft carrier. They conveniently leave out the fact that actually that was built in Russia and they bought it from the Russians. But still, case in point, I don't see where this deal that everybody is celebrating today is anything but going back to where we were 6 weeks ago. We still don't know if we can sell more stuff. The tariffs aren't any different than they used to be. We had all sorts of news for 6 weeks, and we got nowhere. Okay. We'll see if that changes in 90 days. Now, that's the news that the world wants to tell you about. Oh my God, it's such a great thing. The important one that the news isn't really talking about, really, is an executive order that Trump is signing this morning that's going to affect 60% of the country. And why do I say 60% of the country? Because 60% of Americans take at least one prescription drug. And yes, we can get into the fact that we are over-medicated in this country. There's a pill for that, for everything. We've got prescriptions, yada-da-da-da. But Trump announced overnight that he was going to sign an executive order this morning that would drop prescription drug prices somewhere between 30 and 80%. How many of you guys take a drug and go, ugh, when you look at what the cost is? Okay, yeah. Here's how this one works. We are basically, this executive order is forcing the pharmaceutical companies to sell drugs to Americans at most favored nation prices, meaning whatever the lowest price they sell drugs in another country to, by law they will be required to give that price to the United States. Okay? So I don't know, pick a prescription drug. I don't know. Name one. Say it's blood pressure medicine. All right. And let's say we're paying $1 a pill. But the same company that makes it is selling it to Ethiopia for 10 cents a pill. Well, the law will now say that we have to sell that drug in the United States for 10 cents a pill. That's a good thing. However, you know, the drug companies aren't going to be happy about it. Gee, I'm sorry, all that money you spent greasing the palms of politicians doesn't matter, at least for another 3 years as an executive order. Till Congress comes in and says, we're not going to do anything with this. The next president, if it's a Democrat, comes up and says, nah, we're going to let the people that donated to my campaign, charge whatever the hell they want again. Okay. But Trump is trying to reduce the cost for Americans. Of course, what the drug companies will do is they're going to go, well, shit, we can't do that because we've still got to pay for R&D and everything like that. And we've been milking the suckers in the United States for so long because, they have all the money, but now we got to charge with the same thing we charge in Ethiopia. Okay. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to have to find the happy medium because they can't just go, well, you know what? We'll raise everybody's costs in the world to $1 like the United States is paying, and then we're fine. Except the problem is then all the people in the other countries are going to go, we're not paying this 90% hike in prices, or 90-cent hike in prices, on my example. So they're going to have to find that happy medium. And let's say it's, okay, we'll charge everybody 30 cents. The U.S. will go, cool, we dropped 70 cents. And the rest of the world will scream bloody murder, going, oh my God, our prices just tripled. That's what's going to have to happen. But it's about time it does. It's getting something done to help Americans. Gee, that seems to be the mantra of this administration. Help Americans, Americans first, not companies first, not foreigners first, Americans. Joe Wrench Turner. And if this can cut our bills even slightly, I know there's a lot of prescriptions out there. Oh, I've got my little card. It cost me $4. Okay. Maybe $4 doesn't dent your budget. But there's plenty of people out there, and a lot probably on this channel, who, gee, my prescriptions cost me $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, whatever. It's the biggest line item on my household budget. Some relief there is good. That should be the biggest news of the day. The returning the Chinese-American economic relations back to where they were 6 weeks ago. Well, it's a good thing. It's not any sort of great accomplishment. We just pretend the month of April didn't happen. Okay. But cutting the prescription drug prices is something all of us, at least 60% of us, will participate in. And all in all, that's a good thing, because now if you've got more money in your pocket, gee, now you can afford to go to Walmart and buy that cheap Chinese junk. Have a good one, gang. Pinball out.